Hey Frank, so hopefully you thawed out from the snowstorm.
Trying to.
Well, the market still continues to seem warmer than the weather is,
I see what you
and
did there.
the leasing demand obviously has continued, although it obviously has dropped from December, but that's to be expected, right?
Absolutely. We had about 3.6 million square feet of leasing activity in the month of January. That wasn't the 5 million square feet we had in December, but to your point, that wasn't a surprise. 6 out of the last 10 years, there was a drop off in leasing between December and January. So you have to take that with a bit of a grain of salt. January by itself, with deals such as Star at 343 Madison, Gibson Dunn renewing at 200 Park, that was well above the 10-year average in terms of monthly demand. And if every month was to be like January, we would have 44 million square feet of leasing for the year. Not saying that will happen, but January was still a very strong month, even though it was a drop off from December.
Well, it's January. We can still make predictions.
Yes.
But I think what was most notable for me is the percentage decline. So we were at 16.2% availability in January of 25, now down to 13.5. And really most notably is Midtown. I know we've talked a lot about downtown in the past episodes, but Midtown is continuing to be strong.
Absolutely. Midtown now, with its total availability, that's only about 8% higher than it was in March 2020. That's
Wow.
how close the overall availability is right now to that critical benchmark. So we are moving closer and closer towards reaching recovery, of course, in all areas of the market, but Midtown is absolutely no exception.
And even just with some of the things that we're working on, it's 12.5%. I
Absolutely.
think, can we make a bet that it gets to 10% this year?
Kalshi.
So switching to rent has also sort of tracked the same. And I think when you look at it from a graphing perspective, like the sharp decrease or increase in rent for the year was surprising to me.
Yes, absolutely. And there's always a few key reasons for that. So during the month of January, and with Midtown in mind, you had a few blocks of highly priced, well above average space that came online. Blocks such as at 665 Fifth Avenue, here at 1114 Avenue of the Americas, at 787 7th. More of the below average price space came off the market, such as a sublet at 122 East 42nd Street, and continued residential conversions. Typically, those are below average price spaces that come off the market. This next piece is not Midtown focused, but sort of an example of the overall market. For instance, we had blocks of space come off at 100 William Street, 40 Fulton. There was actually about 300,000 square feet so far this year that's come off the market for planned conversion. So a 5% increase in asking rent just over the last year, that is really staggering.
Wow. And in addition to that, concessions, I seem to feel a bit of a pushback from many landlords on concessions.
Yes, absolutely. The tide is beginning to, if not yet turn, certainly begin to stabilize. I mean, you remember it used to be on average about a month or a month and a half of free rent per year. We're really beginning to see that average start to decrease down to a ballpark of around a month. And in some cases, we're now beginning to see below 1 month per year in terms of free rent.
And even the TI allowances seem to be, I mean, it hasn't really translated into the numbers, but sort of hearing some pushback.
Yes, we are absolutely beginning to see that. So once again, the overall averages, it's begun to sort of stabilize, and we're going to be very curious to see throughout the rest of 26 if it begins to move down a bit, because this concession war has been essentially going on for the last 15 years.
Right.
So this will be a very interesting thing to see if there's a notable change in the direction in 26.
That's why we were starting a lot of our requirements early, just to understand how to navigate the market.
Good idea.
But there must be some dark clouds on the horizon.
It's me, of course there are. So yes, I think one of the things that we're beginning to watch carefully are, we saw some very, let's call it cautious predictions for 2026 from the city and the state as far as job growth. It's still very early on, so we're watching carefully to see how that might translate into continued demand into 26 and how that might translate into availability. I'd say that's one key thing that we'll be watching for as we continue throughout the year.
Great. Well, we'll see what the rest of the year has in store.